Happy 4th of July, gunfighters. I thought it would be cool to do an episode today on a great American pastime in guns, plinking. Plinking, if you don't know, is kind of common gun culture vernacular for just going out and having fun. Safe, fun, shooting random stuff with guns. We'll plink anything from acorns to soda cans, charcoal briquettes, 2-liter soda bottles or soda cans, either full or empty, so they explode. Maybe having a little bit of friendly competition, rivalry, maybe by oneself. Plinking is what we're going to talk about today, and especially some of the best plinking guns. And since it's 4th of July, America, let's talk about American-made guns in America. Great American plinking guns. I'm not going to put in a bio today because it's not really germane to plinking. I could mention that I grew up doing it. But today's mostly a fun episode. I will say welcome to Gunfighter Life, the podcast where we talk about guns, gunfighting, tactics, and today, plinking the right way with Almighty God at the center, Judeo-Christian values, and real-world first-hand experience. Alright, let's get into it. Now, a lot of these guns are going to be in .22 long rifle. Why? Because .22 long rifle, well, it's the most affordable round to shoot, and plinking is about going out and having a lot of fun and just shooting for fun. That kind of goes hand in hand with a .22 long rifle. So a lot of these, although not all, there's a time and a place to plink with other things, I think, but a lot of these are going to be in .22. Alright guys, I'm not going to bury the lead. The Ruger 1022 is probably the best, most fun plinking gun on planet Earth. It's also great for small game. It's also great for hunting, as many of these guns that I mentioned will be good for other things, but it's a great plinker. You talk about it, just a ton of fun. Ruger 1022, just right out of the box, right? You can put a red dot on it, you can put a scope on it, you could do all kinds of fancy stuff to a Ruger 1022. You can trick it out, you can make it look like something the Space Force would issue, or you could just go out with a out-of-the-box 1022 with iron sights that come on the gun and a lackluster trigger, and just go out and have a bunch of fun shooting. It's light, it's handy, it's reliable, it's affordable and affordable to shoot. They are probably the best plinking gun on the planet. Good for a lot of other things too, but the Ruger 1022, and take your pick of models. I say if you can go stainless steel, always go stainless steel, but that's just me. To give you an idea, I don't honestly remember if it was the first or second gun that I ever bought with my own money. My first was an old bolt-action 410 that was given to me to hunt with and put meat on the table. But the first one I ever bought, I honestly don't remember if it was a shotgun or a Ruger 1022, but I still have it, and I still shoot it quite a bit. It's one of probably my most shot rifles. I still have it. It's still going strong. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal gun, and it still is. And again, there's all kinds of different models, but any of them will do for plinking. Now, I should mention the Marlin Model 60. I don't like it as much, but it's a fun gun. It's a fine plinker. It's a fine gun, and it's hard to mention one without the other. But these are both magazine-fed semi-autos. What about if you want to go the other way? And I think this is equally as much fun in plinking. Going single shot. Alright? And one of the new classics of this is the Keystone Arms. They make a lot of .22s. They're kind of known for that. Single shot .22s. They make a bunch of different models, but they're little single shot .22 Keystone Cricket. They are cool little guns, and they're single shot. So if you want to go out and have a fun day of plinking, a little bit of friendly competition, or you've got some for some younger kids, they're great for that. Where you don't maybe want them to just blow through a brick of ammo with a semi-auto, they're great for that. And you know what? They're great for adults too. I loved shooting mine. It's a little single shot. I had a Savage. Savage makes some too. I think Savage is called the Rascal. The Keystone arm is like a half shot instead of a single shot, because you have to load the round, and you don't just load it and fire it like you would most single shot bolt actions. You have to load it and then cock it and then fire it. So it's like a half shot. That's not a term. I just made it up. But the Savage is more of a traditional single shot where you work the bolt, you put the round in, you shut the bolt, and then you fire. The Keystone Cricket, you have to do that plus cock it. So either one of those, though, talk about a lot of fun. Trying to shoot small targets really far away. The little single shot 22. They're light, they're cheap, they're handy. They're great for, like, you know, a first gun for young shooters. And especially because they make a ton of youth models. A Ruger 10/22, although easy to shoot and not punishing, obviously, in recoil or anything, if you want to go through the hassle of, like, getting a youth stock and all that for it and spending the money, probably your better bet, if it's a really small statured shooter, is just getting one of these Savage Rascals or Keystone Crickets or whatever. They're cool little guns. They make a ton of different models, different colors. If you got a kid with a favorite color, they might have it in that color. They are just cool little guns. And a lot of fun. The single shot itself. Just trying to go fast shooting a single shot can be a lot of fun. So, although it may seem diametrically opposed, I think a single shot runs right there just behind the Ruger 10/22 for a great all-around plinking gun. And they are so much fun. Alright, what about handguns? We love handguns here in America. I encourage you to have one every time you leave the house, probably even in the house. But you step out, you go check the mailbox, have a handgun on you. This is America. Be a man and carry a gun. You go to Walmart, guess what you should have? A gun. You go to the gas station, guess what you should have? A gun. But as important as concealed carry handguns are for Americans and, you know, well-regulated, red-blooded Americans, shooting handguns can be a lot of fun. And what is more American as a handgun than a single-action revolver? John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, whatever side of the fence that you're on. You can be right and pick John Wayne, or you could be the other guy and pick Clint Eastwood. Both are cool. Close second. Much like there is that duel between the best westerns. Is it John Wayne or is it Clint Eastwood? There is a similar duel at high noon for the best plinking single action 22 revolver. Wah wah wah. Is it the Heritage Rough Rider, or is the new kid on the block the Ruger Wrangler? Both these are pretty affordable. The Heritage is a little bit cheaper. The Ruger is the new kid on the block. I think it's got a little bit better fit and finish. Both are good. Both now come in a bunch of different models, even though the Ruger Wrangler is not that old. It hit the market strong and is doing pretty well. Both are good, guys. And we're talking about a plinking gun. We're not talking about heirloom quality. If we're talking about heirloom quality, I think Ruger does win this, but not with the Ruger Wrangler. The Ruger Bearcat or the Ruger Single Six, if you want an heirloom quality passed down plinking 22 or like a little trail gun, those are fantastic. But if we're just talking about straight up plinking, you know, shooting soda cans off a sawhorse, take your pick, right? Ruger Wrangler or the Heritage Rough Rider. Both are good. Both come in a bunch of different models. The Heritage is going to come in, I think, quite a few more models just because it's been around so long. You're probably more likely to find one used, too. Not that you need to, because they are not expensive. Neither one of these is what I would call expensive guns. They are very affordable and a ton of fun. If you wanted like a fun to dollar ratio, other than things that are fun and free, it would be hard to beat. You know, like a Ruger Wrangler or a Heritage Rough Rider. Just so much fun, and they, again, classic American single action, cowboy looking, but you shoot 22 long rifle, so they're super affordable and super fun. Simple, quintessential American, learn the art and the science of handgun shooting, and just to have fun with, right? They're great little guns, and again, take your pick. All right. Since we're on cowboy stuff and America and the West and all that stuff, guess what I'm going to talk about next? Lever actions. And I've been a little bit hard on lever actions as of late as practical guns. My primary focus on this is practical guns, right? Practical, defensive, and hunting guns. because I view guns mostly as tools. And it's hard for me in 2024, the cost of good lever action, to justify it practically. Today's show is not about practicality. Today's show is about fun and plinking. Now, as much fun as Ruger 1022 is, and as much fun as a little single shot is, you want to spend a little bit more money, or you just like the cowboy way. You just want to work a lever. An affordable, fun way to do that is a 22 lever action. The big one on the market today is Heritage. Heritage makes a ton of really cool 22s, and if you want to go pretty and preppy, they make like the Golden Boy and the Silver Boy. If you want to just run around the eastern woodlands, being safe and, you know, doing a little woods walk and shooting fun things on the trail, tenure the Hatfields and McCoys, you know, or set up a line of little army men, whatever you want to do, little cowboy figurines, you want to get crazy. They're so much fun. And Henry, they're not the only game in town, but they're probably the big game in town for this. There's really no big rival to these. Now, I will say, those are fine, and they're good quality guns. If you really want to take it to the next level and want a really good passed down heritage quality, like great-grandchildren will really appreciate it, Browning makes a really beautiful lever action 22. I think they kind of take it to the next level in quality and fit and finish. But the Heritages are good quality too. They're a fine, and they make a lot of different models. Again, the Golden Boy, the Silver Boy. They're just really, really kind of taking the market by storm with their little lever action 22s. And the Browning may, but I know a lot of, if not all, of the lever action Henrys that I've seen that are marked short, long, and long rifle. And I'm not going to get into a big thing about what those are, but if you want to shoot really quiet, legally, without a suppressor, or you got somebody that's really timid, you know, like a 22 CB cap or Calibri or 22 short is even less than a 22 long rifle, which is not much as far as recoil and being able to deal with it. So you got that option. Pretty cool. But a lever action 22, and we're talking about American guns today. So yeah, the Henry and the Browning lever action 22s, talk about fun. And just, again, you want to go full cowboy, Plinking style, and get a, you know, Ruger or Heritage single action revolver and a lever action. Just so much fun. Now, I mentioned not everything on the list today was going to be 22. Kind of the, and I think it predates it by quite a bit, but kind of the big brother, the larger powered, but still similar dimensions and lines, the M1 carbine. You talk about a classic American gun. And this is a warfighting gun. Like, these were made in mass. They were issued in mass. They were used a long time by the U.S. military. They are a deadly, deadly weapon. They're also a fun, handy, really cool little carbine. Ammunition, not crazy affordable, but it's not going to break the bank either. And you just talk about fun. And if you more gravitate towards, like, the history of great American military Americana, you know, M1 carbine is one of the ones that's just really fun to shoot. Wow, M1 Grand is a fine weapon, but I wouldn't put it on the best plinking guns. I would put the M1 carbine on the best plinking guns. This is a plinking gun episode, not the best warfighting gun ever made, not the greatest, you know, long arm on the planet. We're talking about a fun plinking gun. And guess what? It is. It is a super fun plinking gun that just ties you into that American military heritage. So if you're looking for a fun plinking gun but you like history, if it's just for plinking, they've gotten pretty expensive, but if you find one that's pretty beat up and mix match serial numbers, different makes and models on, let's say, the Bolt, things like that, but it's still a shooter, again, it's a plinking gun. Even if it malfunctions once a magazine, we're talking about plinking here. So if you look for that kind of gun, they might not be crazy expensive. If you're looking for an all-matching serial number, you know, Winchester, then yeah, they're probably going to be pretty expensive. But if you look for an old beat-up one with mixed-match parts, maybe not crazy expensive and just super fun. And the next one we're going to talk about is the new kid and the current military American gun that's also a great plinking gun. Now, I grew up hunting and shooting and putting meat on the table and stuff like that, and I remember the first time I shot an M16. This was back before AR-15s were super common for civilians, and I shot a legit military M16, and I was like, what is this thing? It was very unlike what I considered a proper rifle or shotgun. That said, it's super fun to shoot. It's part of the reason is the military uses it, but another reason is they're super fun to shoot. That's why I think people try to press them into roles that they're not really meant for, not great at, because they're so much fun to shoot. Like, oh, this is great for everything. It's the Ginsu knife. It slices, it dices. If I get it, and it's cool, and it's got all this, Elon Musk accessories bolted on it, women are going to want me, and men are going to want to be me, and all this and that, and it's the greatest gun ever, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it's a super fun gun to shoot, and it's a super fun plinking gun. It can be used for other things, but just as a fun gun to shoot. And there are so many different models and iterations and so many makers. And you don't even need a good expensive one for this. If we're talking about something to trust your life to, get quality. If we're talking about a plinking gun, you see a good deal on an old beat up one at a gun store. It's probably a fine plinking gun. And they're affordable and they're fun to shoot. They have low recoil. They're not a high-powered round, despite what the media might have you believe. They're pretty anemic as far as the spectrum of rifle calibers. But that makes them fun to shoot. And economy of scale, the ammunition, as far as centerfire rifle goes, is pretty affordable. So you talk about the current reigning champ of American plinking centerfire stuff, that's going to be the AR-15 family. Right, you want an M16 A1 clone, A2 clone, whatever era you came in, M16 A4 clone. I came in and was issued the A2, and then later on during the war I was issued the M16 A4. And I've also used quite a bit of M4s and things like that. You want an M4 clone, right? Or you just want to get crazy and do like a quasi designated marksman kind of gun, or whatever it is. They're all going to be fun to shoot. So you talk about the current reigning champ of American plinking and centerfire, at least outside the 22 realm. It's the AR-15. And not even a close second. But if you just don't want an AR, but you want similar attributes to that semi-automatic box-fed, shoulder-fired, plinking awesomeness, get a Ruger Mini 14. You want the wood stock, you want to go full A-team and get a folding stock, whatever. They're great too. They're super fast. I'm not claiming they're as good as an AR-15 for some things, but I'm saying for plinking they're just as good. We're talking about plinking here. They're great, and I also use these in law enforcement roles. And you talk about, it'd be hard to justify one practically in a Mini 14, Mini 30 maybe we're getting somewhere, but a Mini 14, unless you live in a state that's malum prohibitum, they say you can't have it because it's scary, and you can have a Mini 14. The cost of a brand new Mini 14, you can get a lot of really good quality AR, so it's hard to justify it on price. But this doesn't have to be a practical gun episode. If you just like the Mini 14 better, they're a super fun plinking gun. And again, they're not even close to the champ for this. That's the AR-15 and the AR-15 family. But if you want something similar and you just want to have fun, the Mini 14, I think, deserves a spot on a great plinking American guns list. And you might know where I'm going with the handgun. Classic American. If you're talking about centerfire, you're talking about American. The 1911. Okay, most of your plinking probably going to be done with a 22, but if you want to step it up and you want a great American, and this is also a great American war-fighting handgun, it's a great American piece of history. It is one of the best handguns ever designed, well ahead of its time. The 1911. The 1911 deserves a spot on this. 45 ACP is not cheap, but not everything on this list has to be cheap. A 1911. And then this is America, so get an American-made one, but there's plenty of really good American-made 1911s. You want an old GI, original 1911 clone, or an A1 clone, or an actual Colt 1911, if you have one and you're going out plinking and you have not a new kid or something like that, but if you have somebody you think can handle it that shot before and you just want a really fun gun to shoot, again, it's still a very effective, very useful handgun, but it's also a lot of fun. So the 1911, I think, deserves to be on this list too for a center fire handgun. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap up this episode. I hope you liked this. If you are going to go out and go plinking, be safe, have fun. If that's part of your 4th of July tradition, especially hopefully you get the opportunity to take some new shooters out and introduce them to shooting in a safe, fun manner. But this is America. Go out and shoot something. With that, your tactical tip of the day. Tactical tip of the day, I'm just going to talk about some really fun targets to plink on. Obviously, steel targets, although not common when I was younger, are really common today. As long as you shoot them at a safe distance, and you got to look at the manufacturer for what a safe distance is for your steel target. But as long as you do it at a safe distance, they're safe and they're fun. And then, like I mentioned, charcoal briquettes. Those are also really fun and affordable. Army men, those little figurines, armies, cowboys, and Indians, those kind of things, those are really fun to plink on. I'm not going to mention anything glass because I don't want you to shoot the glass and then not pick it up, and it's really hard to pick up all the glass. But shoot soda cans. Soda cans are really easy to clean up, whether they have full cans of soda or not. Probably the best thing you could do with high fructose corn syrup is shoot it instead of drink it. But anyway, yeah, soda cans or 2-liter soda bottles, those are fun and safe to shoot. You get too close, you might get a little bit sticky, but you're probably going to be fine. Anyway, with that, guys, this is America, and we are supposed to be a Judeo-Christian nation. So I'm going to give you a verse of the day per the norm. This is from the prophet Ezekiel. But if a wicked man turns from all his sins which he has committed, keeps all my statutes, and does what is lawful and right, he shall surely live, he shall not die. None of the transgressions which he has committed shall be remembered against him. Because of the righteousness which he has done, he shall live. Do I have any pleasure at all that the wicked should die, says the Lord, and not that he should turn from his ways and live? Thanks for listening. Turn and live, and have a blessed day.